Hey guys, it's Areesa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you guys 5 super easy tips on how to make your homemade cakes look a lot more professional. Before we get started, please hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and follow my Instagram at Desserts by Areesa. Okay, let's get right into this video. So tip number 1 for you guys is to stack your cakes up tall with lots of layers. So what I mean by that is typically you will have 2 layers of cake, sometimes 3, but even if you just have 2, you want to take your cakes and slice them in half so you end up with 4 layers and stack those up with the buttercream. What that's going to do is it's going to automatically make your cake taller, and also when you slice into it, it's going to look really cool with like cake, buttercream, you get the picture. And it'll taste better because in every bite you'll get a much more even ratio of cake to buttercream. So barely any extra work, no extra cake. You might need a little more buttercream, but other than that, it's a super easy tip and I highly recommend doing it. Okay, tip number 2 is to get yourself some of these guys. Obviously, these are cake boards. A lot of people are just gonna end up using plates to put their cakes on. I would recommend definitely getting yourself a cake board. It's not very expensive. It's less than a couple of dollars. It'll be the exact size you need it for your cake, and also it's a nice flat surface. So your cake will look much more polished and professional just by getting yourself one of these. Tip number 3 I have for you is to invest in some of these guys. These are cake scrapers. Well, technically, these are cake scrapers, and this is a bench scraper, but it's got that nice flat edge, so it will do the trick. But my personal favorite is this one. You can see, if it'll focus, you can see that it has this nice straight edge here, and then it has the patterned edges all around. So the reason I like this is because obviously variety, but also if you're not great at getting that perfectly smooth finish, because that can be kind of difficult, if you run a patterned edge around the cake, it'll eliminate any imperfections, or at least you won't be able to see imperfections very easily. So it'll make your life a lot easier and it'll look super professional. So definitely get yourself one of these. It was like $6 on Amazon. Definitely a worthwhile investment. All right. Tip number, what are we on? 4? Yeah, tip number 4 is get yourself a piping tip. This is a 1M piping tip. If you don't want to buy a whole bunch, just buy this one. This is my favorite one by far. It's great for piping borders around the bottom of the cake, and also for designs on top and for cupcakes. This is my favorite piping tip for cupcakes, so very versatile, a couple of dollars. And it's just gonna add a really professional, polished look to your face, to your cake, if you use one of these guys. And it's not very hard. It might take a bit of practice, but honestly, if you're doing simple designs, it's not very hard. If you get a piping bag, piping tip, you're good to go. So 1M tip, highly recommend. Okay, last but not least, I've got some sprinkle ideas for you guys. Typically what you will find is these rainbow sprinkles, these rainbow, like straight sprinkles. They're fun, they're great, there's a time and place for these guys, but they're very basic and most homemade bakers are gonna use them. So if you wanna take your cake a notch up, I recommend getting some fancy sprinkles, getting some, this is some gold pearlized sugar, love it, and some sugar pearls. I've used these in other videos before, you guys can see that if you look at my other videos on my page. Also, you can use these candy chocolate wafers, also called candy melts. Anything like that you can use as decoration for a cake. Some of my favorites are to use chocolate shavings, you can use chocolate pieces, macarons, anything like that you can put on a cake. But if you want to keep it simple, those are great options, and they'll just take it a notch up from your typical rainbow sprinkle. Sprinkles? Sprinkle. Whatever. You guys get the point. That is all for today, guys. Those are my 5 tips. Leave me a comment down below letting me know which tip was the most helpful to you, or if you guys have some tips, leave them down below as well. I would love to hear them. Maybe there's something I can learn from you. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and stay tuned for my next video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!